Bonjour and welcome to the French Girl's Guide to Food. We're making Madeleine cookies today, a super yummy way for you to have your cake at the end of the day. Now, this recipe does include a few extra steps, so make sure to stick through to the end, even if you're not a huge fan of baking, and I promise you, you'll love the end result. Okay, let's start our Madeleines with 1 stick of unsalted butter. We'll cut this up and melt it completely. And before we set our butter aside to cool, we'll just prepare our Madeleine baking sheet. And we'll line, if you have a brush or you can use a paper towel, we'll line the sheet with the butter. Okay, let's put our butter to one side to cool completely, our baking sheet as well. And we'll take our bowl where we'll have our room temperature eggs. Now you can use 3 jumbo or large eggs. I'm using 4 medium-sized eggs, so they're a little bit smaller. Add a ½ cup of granulated sugar and a nice tablespoon of vanilla extract. Other traditional recipes call for almond paste or lemon zest, but I'm keeping these simple. Using a wooden spoon, combine all of these ingredients together until they are thoroughly mixed. Now let's ditch that wooden spoon and we'll use a hand mixer to beat the eggs very briskly so that the batter doubles in size and becomes very light and pale. You'll notice the consistency will change and become a nice, thicker batter. Now this is the base for what is known as the chinoise cake batter. So here we are, our batter is perfect, doubled in size, much lighter, and a thicker consistency. So we are ready for our next step. So we'll get our clean bowl and we'll prepare our flour ingredients. 3/4 of a cup of flour. We'll add ½ teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we'll make sure that we mix our dry ingredients together. And we will add this in thirds to our batter. Alright guys, we have just a few more steps here. The end result will be totally worth it, so stick with it, focus, and you'll have an amazing end result. I never use a sifter when baking, but this is a good opportunity to use one so that we don't get any lumps of flour in our batter. Again, we'll add the flour in thirds, making sure that the flour is completely incorporated before adding the next portion. The reason why we incorporate in thirds is to make sure that we don't have any lumps of flour in our batter. Before we complete incorporating our final third of the flour, let's add a little bit of our batter to the melted butter that's already cooled. The purpose of doing this is to make sure the butter doesn't thin our batter too much. It gets it started so that we can put this back into our batter and completely incorporate our ingredients without losing our consistency. Now before you think there's any more work to do, there's just one last step, and that's to get the batter into our baking sheet so we can bake these cookies and get started enjoying them. You can use a couple of spoons, a measuring cup, or a cookie scoop to put batter into the pan that fills it about 3/4 of the way. Once you've completed this step, let's get our cookies in our 375-degree oven, and we'll bake for about 8 to 10 minutes or until the edges are nice and golden brown and the cookies have puffed up. These look absolutely gorgeous. We'll take these out of the oven and allow them to cool for a few minutes. And using a butter knife or even a sharp knife, help the cookie get released from the pan by cutting away at the edges slightly. It should pop out very easily. Now let's crack one of these open and check our consistency here. It's perfectly spongy, cakey, and so ready to eat. I love these Madeleine cookies with a little chocolate hazelnut spread or even my favorite jam. You may even indulge a little bit for breakfast one Saturday morning. Let me know, I want to see how your Madeleine cookies turn out. Post a photo on Facebook or let me know in a comment below. And if you haven't yet, click to subscribe for more recipes coming to you every Tuesday and tips coming every Saturday. Thanks for watching the French Girl's Guide to Food. Enjoy these delicious Madeleine cookies. I know I will. And à votre santé.